I never believed in curses. Not ghosts, not demons, not haunted houses, none of it. When you grow up in a neighborhood where gunshots are more common than ghost stories, you don't waste time fearing what might be lurking in the dark. You fear the things you know are real. But that changed the day I walked into the house with no shadows. It happened last summer. I had just started a side gig for a small real estate photographer who needed someone cheap to shoot empty rental properties. Easy work, in, out, take a few pictures, send them over, get paid. I had keys, addresses, and a schedule. Nothing unusual, until I got to 128 Rutherwood Lane. The house itself wasn't old. In fact, that made it worse. Horror movies teach you to fear abandoned mansions, cracked paint, rotting staircases. But this place looked freshly renovated. White siding, a polished porch, clean windows reflecting the afternoon sun. The only odd thing? There were no shadows. Not on the porch, not under the railings, not behind the flower pots. The entire front exterior looked flat, like a photograph with the contrast turned all the way up. I stared for a full minute before convincing myself I was overthinking. Bright sun can wash out details. Heat haze can distort perception. Cameras sometimes lie. Eyes do too. I unlocked the door and immediately felt robbed of breath. The air inside wasn't dusty or stale. It was still like stepping into a room that had been holding itself closed for a century. And it was bright, blindingly bright. Pure white light filled the place, coming from nowhere. There were lamps, but none were switched on. Windows, but the light didn't behave like sunlight. And again, no shadows. Not from the furniture, not from me, not even from the corners of the room. Everything was washed in the same, evenly distributed glow. I lifted my hand, waved it slowly. Nothing. Not even the faintest blur of a shadow. That's when I should have left. But the problem is, when you're paid, when you're behind on rent, when you've been desperate long enough, you ignore warning signs that should feel obvious. So I stayed. I started taking pictures and immediately noticed something else. Every picture came out wrong. The frame would look perfectly normal through the viewfinder, but once I pressed the shutter, the preview showed something different. Not extremely different, but subtly shifted. Chairs slightly out of place. Doors ajar that had been closed. A hallway that appeared longer than reality. I shrugged it off. Maybe the camera was glitching. Maybe my brain was filtering details weirdly. But then, I captured a person. A blur. Pale. Thin. Standing at the far end of the hallway. I gasped, nearly dropped the camera. Tore my eyes upward. No one was there. Every instinct told me to leave. But a sick curiosity took hold. I need to prove I wasn't imagining things. I need to finish this job and get the hell out. So I kept walking, room by room, photographing everything quickly. And the deeper I went, the stranger the rooms became. The kitchen cabinets were all slightly open, just an inch, but perfectly uniform, like someone had measured the distance. The fridge hummed, but there was nothing inside except a single glass of water on the middle shelf. Not a stain, not a crumb, nothing else. The living room smelled faintly of burning plastic, but nothing was burnt. The hallway carpet had indentations, footsteps, but they were spaced too closely together, almost like someone had shuffled along, dragging their feet. And then came the basement door. It was the only shadowed thing in the entire house. Not the door itself, but the gaps around it. A thin outline of darkness, like the house wanted that door shut, which meant, of course, I opened it. The stairs creaked. The air grew colder. And for the first time in the house, my body cast a faint shadow. Only down there. Only on those steps. I raised the camera and snapped a picture. My heart stopped, because the preview showed something impossible. A man, long arms, back bent, face blurred, standing right behind me on the steps. I spun around, nearly falling. Nothing. Only the sterile brightness upstairs and the yawning darkness below. But as I turned back toward the basement, I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Coming from the bottom of the stairs. I stepped down one more step. The breathing stopped. I should have fled. I know that. But the kind of fear I felt wasn't the kind that sends you running. It's the kind that freezes you, traps you, roots you to the ground. I lifted the camera with trembling hands and took one more picture. The preview showed the basement filled with people. Dozens. All facing the walls. All unmoving. All identical. Same clothes. Same hair. Same posture. Like dolls. Like copies. My vision tunneled. My legs wobbled. And I swear on my life, I felt a hand touch the back of my neck. I screamed and bolted up the stairs so fast I slammed my shoulder into the doorframe. The basement door slammed shut behind me. Not gently, not gradually, like someone had thrown their entire weight against it. I ran, and the terrifying part, as I sprinted out the front door, I realized something was wrong with my footsteps. They were delayed, not echoing, delayed, like someone was stepping exactly where I stepped, half a second later. Like something was following me, matching me, copying me. I burst into daylight, stumbled to my car, and sped off without looking back. When I got home, I checked the photos again, and froze. Because the last photo, the one with the identical figures in the basement, had changed. They weren't facing the walls anymore. They were facing the camera, facing me, and the nearest one looked exactly like me. Same clothes, same posture, same build, same face. My copy. I deleted the entire memory card, threw it away, smashed it with a hammer. But that night, I woke to the sound of my closet door sliding open. And I swear I heard my own voice whisper, "You shouldn't have left me down there." You know how some roads just feel wrong the moment your tires hit them? Like the asphalt remembers things, horrible things, and silently resents every car that dares cross over it. That's River Road. Locals tell stories about it. Missing travelers, cars found abandoned with engines still warm, people walking out of the woods with no idea who they are. But I never believed any of that. Rural towns gossip the way bored kids poke dead animals with sticks just to see what happens. I was driving it because it was a shortcut. That's all. A simple back road between two highway exits. Google Maps suggested it. I didn't even think twice. It was around 10 p.m. The fog was thick enough to make my headlights useless, but I kept driving, music low, window cracked just enough for cool air to keep me awake. But then the music cut out. Not paused, not switched. It just died, like the speakers had been unplugged. Then the dashboard lights dimmed. The engine followed. My car stuttered twice and rolled to a stop right beside an unmarked bridge with railings eaten by rust. The moment the engine shut off, the sound stopped too. No crickets, no wind, no rustling leaves, not even distant road noise. Just silence. A silence so heavy it felt like pressure on my skull. I tried the ignition dead. Tried my phone, black screen. Not low battery, completely unresponsive. I stepped out of the car, cursing, slamming the door. But the quiet swallowed the noise instantly. No echo, no reverb, just muted reality. That's when I noticed something strange. River Road didn't have a river. The bridge spread over a dry ditch. Nothing but dirt and old stones. No water, no trickling, no smell, nothing. Why build a bridge over nothing? I walked a few steps forward and my breath hitched. Someone was standing at the far end of the bridge, leaning against the railing, watching me. A tall figure, too tall. Their arms hung slightly too long. Their spine bent subtly, like a marionette without strings. I blinked, and they disappeared. I whipped around, scanning the fog, heart hammering, but the road was empty again. I walked back to my car, except it wasn't my car. Same model, same color, same scratches on the bumper, same dent I'd made in a parking lot 2 years ago. But the license plate was wrong. Not wrong in numbers, wrong in material. It was wood, a thin board, with numbers carved into it. And the car keys sitting on the hood weren't mine either. They were old, rusty, heavy, like something from a 1960s pickup. I backed away slowly, and that's when I heard it. A scream, but not from a person, from the road. The asphalt beneath my feet vibrated with a low wail, like hundreds of voices buried under the surface. Layered, distorted, begging. I ran, not back toward the car, not toward the bridge. I ran into the forest, branches whipping my arms, fog suffocating visibility. Behind me, footsteps followed. Not fast, not panicked, deliberate, measured, like someone was matching my pace exactly. I stumbled into a clearing lit by a soft glow. Not moonlight, something else. A lantern hung from a tree branch. Old, metal, rusted, flickering like it was running low on fuel. Below was a sign, a memorial plaque. I leaned forward, reading the engraved words through shaking breaths. In memory of those who were taken on River Road. If you hear the quiet, run. Leaves rustle behind me. I turned. The tall figure stood 3 feet away. Now I could see its face. It didn't have one. Just smooth, stretched skin. No eyes. No nose. No mouth. But somehow I could still feel it watching me. A sound rose in the air. A wet, clicking inhale. A breath. But not from its face. From its chest. Slits open where ribs should be, expanding like gills. It was breathing through its torso. I screamed and ran back toward the road. Except, the road wasn't there anymore. Only trees. Endless trees. A looping forest that shifted every time I turned. I stopped running. The silence returned. Heavy. Crushing. Wrong. And then, close behind my ear, a whisper. You heard it. I spun around. Nothing. Then the forest around me dissolved into black. I woke up in my bed, screaming, sweating, panicked. My phone buzzed beside me. A notification. New photos saved. I opened my gallery. There were exactly 9 photos, all taken in darkness, all showing the faint outline of a person standing behind me. Tall, bent, faceless. Last picture, a wooden license plate with my number on it. Traveling for work used to be easy. Book a hotel, present a smile, swipe your card, get your room, crash. I had done it 1,000 times. But that was before the fire broke in. Before room 313. I arrived late on a Thursday, exhausted and irritable from a delayed flight in a rental car with a broken AC. The hotel was a 2-story structure off the highway. Nothing special, nothing suspicious. Yellowed lights, flickering sign, bored clerk. It was the kind of place you forget the moment you leave. I should have taken the hint when the clerk saw my reservation, hesitated, and cleared his throat. You're in a room 313. Let me know if you want to switch. What? I asked. He shook his head. Some rooms just don't get along with some people. I thought he was joking. He was not. The hallway to the room was long, carpet worn, lights buzzing. Room numbers were metal plates screwed into the doors. When I reached room 313, the plate was crooked. Not loose, crooked, like someone had bent the metal. I unlocked the door. The room was normal. Bed, desk, TV, window, bathroom. The only odd thing was the smell, like rain on hot concrete. I tossed my suitcase on the bed and sat down. That's when the knock came. 3 taps. Soft. Even. I opened the door. No one was there. Just the hallway light flickering like a dying pulse. I shrugged it off, closed the door, and lay back on the bed. Immediately, another knock. 3 taps. Same rhythm. I jumped up and ripped open the door. Empty. I walked down the hall, listening. Nothing. No voices. No footsteps. Just the hum of the building. When I returned to my room, something felt different. My suitcase was open. Clothes tossed around. Not violently. Carefully. Neatly. Like someone had inspected every item. Hello. My voice sounded thin. A whisper floated from the bathroom. A wet, delicate whisper. You're early. My heart stopped. I stepped back so fast I hit the wall. The bathroom door was slightly ajar. Light off. Dark inside. I swallowed. Who's in there? No reply. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and pushed the door open with my foot. Empty. But the mirror was fogged over. And written in the condensation, with a single finger, were the words, "Don't answer the door again." I staggered back, shaking. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed awake with the lights on, sitting against the headboard, staring at the door. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the knocking returned. This time, it wasn't 3 taps. It was constant, fast, desperate. I covered my ears, but the sound vibrated through the room. Posts on the bed frame rattled. The lamp flickered violently. Then the knocking stopped. 5 seconds of silence. Then, a whisper from under the door. "Please let me in. They're coming." I stared at the bottom of the door. A shadow appeared. Not a person's shadow. Too thin. Too long. Crawling like smoke. Moving like something boneless. The knob began to turn. Slowly. I pressed my entire weight against the door, pushing it shut as the knob rattled violently. A voice hissed, "You shouldn't have closed it." Then silence. I backed away, stumbling onto the bed. The window curtains fluttered, even though there was no breeze. When the curtain lifted, I saw a reflection in the glass. Not mine. Something standing behind me. Tall, crooked neck, no eyes, jaw unhinged. I spun around. Nothing. But the reflection remained in the window. Closer now. Night dragged on in suffocating terror. Every few minutes, a new noise. Footsteps pacing inside the walls. Tap, tap, tap from under the bed. Breath behind the bathroom door. Whispers saying my name. Sometimes the lights flickered, and for a fraction of a second, I saw shapes, tall shapes, moving around the room like they'd always been there. At sunrise, everything stopped. No knocking, no whispering, no shadows. I grabbed my bag and bolted out the door, not bothering to zip it. The clerk saw me and nodded slowly. "Room 313? He asked. I nodded shakily. "Yeah," he sighed. "It doesn't like being alone." "I'm never coming back," I said. He looked at me with pity. "Once you stay there, it follows you." I froze. "What?" He slid a key card across the desk. "Same room number. It'll show up," he whispered. "Wherever you sleep next." I didn't take the key. I drove 13 hours home without stopping. Locked my doors, closed my curtains, sat on my bed, trying to calm down. My phone buzzed. New audio file saved. I didn't record anything. I pressed play. Knocking. 3 taps. Then a whisper. "Don't answer the door." Then louder knocking. Not from the phone. From my front door. 3 taps. Same rhythm. Room 313 found me. And it's knocking again.